But they called me after 3 days and said that I should come back to do another mammography urgently. And I got scared. I said, well, I cannot come immediately because of the work. Can you come tomorrow? Absolutely. You should come here in a hospital. Okay. I couldn't sleep that night. I thought in myself, well, if it is cancer, I tell them to cut everything off. I don't know what to do.
Persida, how did you find carnivore?
Oh, hi, Dave. And first of all, thank you very much for having me on your podcast because I hope that my experience may be some help for somebody. I don't know, who knows. Well, I wasn't looking for a carnivore diet. Actually, I didn't know it existed because let me point out just one thing because it is sort of it is like linguistic force friends. I mean, in Italian, when you say carnivore, you think that it's just in biology. It's an organism that eats meat, right? Uh, as opposed to herbivore, actually, to animals that eat vegetables, right? Herbs. So I never thought about it as just as a diet. Then when I found it out, and I'll say when it will be later, a little bit later. When I found it out, I found that it is actually sort of animal a synonym for animal-based diet, right? I suppose so, right? And so I wasn't looking for it because I was convinced that I was feeding myself quite well. I mean, I didn't have any problems. And my husband has a gym, and we always worked out. We were athletic, and actually, until 18, I was eating carnivore. When I think because my father insisted on eating especially meat and meat and meat, right? And I liked it. I prefer it. I never ate until 18. I never ate, for example, vegetables. I liked it a lot. But then in the 80s, in the mid 80s, it started that trend in the gyms that you should eat rice or pasta and chicken breast, and that myth about the chicken breast never dies like any other meat, right? And a little bit of fruit because it is necessary. Fructose is necessary. It was thought then. And well, nothing happened, and at least that's what we thought. I mean, we worked out. It was everything. It was normal. But I should have understood that I was wrong. I didn't notice. I neglected some signals. For example, I neglected the signal in 2019 when I had a severe inflammation in my ears and the polyps in nose, nasal polyps in the nose, that something happened. It means that there was an inflammation in me, in my body. And I went to the doctor. He said that was the form of my skull that caused the problem in my ears. I said, wait a minute. I went diving and I had a problem, free diving. And it's not the first time that I went diving. I have this form of skull for years since I was born. So how come it happened only now? But he didn't give me answers. He just cut the story short and he said, "Oh, that's the problem and that's it. So we need to do an operation of the skull." I was so scared. What kind of operation of the skull? No. So it was a summer and it destroyed my summer because I had to do those inhalations from nose. Then it lasted at least a month. And okay, so I made a pause. Actually, I couldn't go diving further, but then after that I came back. But actually, from 2015 I got fat. I was always pretty in shape. Even if I hadn't been in shape, it wasn't a problem for me to get in shape. It was just a week. For example, if I want to get let's say, for a summer. And when I say being in shape, I mean being shredded. It's not just going down with weight, right? But this time something happened. I realized that my body stopped and that whatever I tried, I couldn't go further. I mean, but I still kept a little bit carbs, a little bit, especially chocolate. I was addicted to chocolate, not pasta, not pizza, nor other things, but chocolate. I mean, I always thought, oh, what if I were in a wood or in a forest without a supermarket? And if I don't find chocolate, I get mad. I was mad with myself. I was angry with myself because of that, because I felt prison of that chocolate. I even had the blanket chocolate color because I liked it very much. And I and then years later, when I discovered carnivore, I found out that in every bag that I had a piece of chocolate with that extreme survival mode. What if I am without chocolate? What will happen? Then I will get mad. But well, from 2015 I got fat, and I realized that there was there was pain in my joints, for example, in shoulders, in knees. But then I thought maybe I'm getting old. Simply, I'm getting old. My husband insisted, well, probably you should. He insisted more than once. And he told me, well, you should slim down. You should change your diet. You should do something, absolutely. And he mentioned more than once the word ketosis. But at that time, I didn't want to know anything about it. I simply, I had the idea in my mind that I did not want to have that approach to nutrition like it was before. And that is to say, I didn't want to reduce the volume, the calories, because you need a lot of concentration. You need enormous effort to do that. And I wasn't actually motivated to do that. Maybe because of this, and maybe because of the job, maybe because we had a situation in family. We had his parents that had dementia, both of them at the same time. So we dedicated ourselves to them. We were actually caregivers, right? And it is a lot, it's an effort. And then I didn't want to do it. But one night, however, it was April 2021. I woke up twice. I usually don't wake up during the night. I sleep well, but I woke up twice because I was choking. I was suffocating, and I couldn't breathe. I was really scared, and I asked my husband. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to fall asleep again because I'm choking. He was angry. He said, I've been telling you for a long time to change your diet. I said, okay, okay. What am I supposed to do? Just cut carbs, he said. I said, okay. So easy, so easy. Okay. Tomorrow morning, I went to the supermarket and I bought beef and sheep. Here in Abruzzo, in this region, sheep is we have a lot of sheep, and it's a sort. There is it is very common to eat a piece of sheep on wooden stick, right, grilled. It's very, very nice, very good. Just grilled, simply grilled, and that's all. And I bought this because it was the most simple thing, and I like it, right? And for 3 days, I've been eating that meat. All meat. At that time, I didn't know the importance of the fat, of the animal fat, but I like it. Anyway, I ate fat. I ate actually the sheep is fat, more fat than you can find more fat than in lamb, right? And and after 3 days, I realized something. I told my husband, well, I cut it. He said, what? I don't know. Something happened in my head. I'm not addicted anymore. And it was such a great, it was a revelation. And at that time, I didn't search anything on internet about the nutrition. I thought that it wasn't necessary. All I wanted not to breathe. All I wanted was to breathe, not to have problems with choking. And all I wanted simply just to get free of addiction. And I found the key for freedom. For me, it was the key of freedom to cut that addiction that I really hated myself because I consider myself, my being overweight, fat. I'd like to underline fat. Being fat for me meant biological, physiological, and moral shame because it wasn't logical. It wasn't normal to get in that shape. That wasn't shape actually, and uh, but since I was busy, I wasn't tracking anything. Usually, I don't track anything, but even at that time, I was tracking because I was not thinking about losing weight. I was thinking about cutting the addiction, and I was really happy. I knew that I got it. And after 3 weeks, my husband told me one morning, he said, "What happened? Last night you fell asleep fat. This morning you are not fat anymore." I said, "Oh, that's right. I got rid of it." I was really realized, but not, it was not the only thing. I got rid of the pain. Suddenly I realized that I could get out of bed without pain. And my heels, I had, for example, my heels were so cracked, destroyed. They were soft again. And I had acne on my back, and I thought that the acne were because of the wear, because of suits. I mean, usually maybe if it's not cotton or because of sweating in the gym, but it's not. It disappeared, and even the dandruff disappeared. I had snow on my shoulders usually. That, the dandruff from of the hair when it goes right, and only then, only after that 3 weeks, I started searching on internet, watching, and I found out, oh, there is a Lion diet, ancestral diet, paleo, keto, and carnivore. And eventually, I introduced a little bit of vegetables, just because I thought I had to, because ketosis means you eat also vegetables, and I thought I had to do. I didn't like it. But then I suddenly realized that vegetables made me feel bloated. Because when you are fat, you cannot realize if you are bloated or not. If you are bloating, I mean, you are fat and that's all. But now,
It feels
since
it feels normal when you're fat, right?
it was normal, it was normal. You don't see the difference, right? But now I realize, but no, no, I didn't like it, and then I said, oh, I I never ate vegetables before. I don't know why should I eat vegetables again. So I didn't want it, and then that 2021 I started fasting, not because of myself, but because of my husband. My husband had a hip problem, and we realized that only if he hadn't eaten for 30 hours, not less than 30 hours, the pain was gone. So we even had after that we had even long fasting, but at the beginning of November 2021 I had my first long fast, actually long, let's say it was 72 hours, and I liked it very much because I felt free with fasting, because I didn't have to prepare anything, I didn't have to think about the point that I didn't think about eating. For me it was freedom. And then at the end of November, it was Saturday, November 2021, I had an appointment in the hospital. There was a mammography screening, the screening, breast screening, right? Because the municipality of Pescara organizes every 2 years, but I couldn't do it in 2020 because of COVID. And I went there, I did a screening, and I came back home thinking, well, I have the results, I don't know, after 3 or 6 months. Italy is not Switzerland, so we have to wait. They are not precise and in that way. But they called me after 3 days and said that I should come back to do another mammography urgently. And I got scared. I said, well, I cannot come immediately because of the work. Can you come tomorrow? Absolutely, you should come here in our hospital. Okay. I couldn't sleep that night. I thought in myself, well, if it is cancer, I tell them to cut everything off. I don't know what to do. Then that morning, I went to the hospital, and this time there were three nurses, how they say, technicians that did the mammography. And they told me that they had to do mammography, that they should press more to see better. Okay. So they did it, and they told me to wait in the waiting room, and they were, I think, the longest half hour of my life, really, because I was so scared. And then when they called me, the doctor started the cross-examination about my identity. If I were the same person that did the screening in 2018, and how old I was, and all those things. I didn't know why she was asking that. And then she said, don't worry. You don't have to worry, I can assure you, because it's negative this time too, like in 2018. But this time something happened. your cells, your breast cells regenerated. You have new cells. And these times you have 16 years old girl cells. I didn't know what to do. And she said, I didn't know what to answer actually. She said, I don't know how it is possible, she said, but I would like to do further research. I just asked, maybe it could be because of nutrition. Because I knew at that time, at that point, because I was searching on the internet, I knew that the cells regenerate. But I thought that it was about peripheral cells, like for example, nails or hair, or I don't know, something like that, but not inside the body in that way. And when you hear about, for example, autophagy and all those things, all those doctors say, yes, we do have research about autophagy, but it's on mice or I don't know, frogs or whatever, but we don't have the precise results on humans. So I came back home, but I didn't call her anymore. I was so happy. I said, "Oh, okay." But at that time, when she told me that, I was 56, right? And I didn't. I didn't think, well, I rejuvenated. We cannot turn back our time. I simply realized, oh, so I'm getting old in a normal way. Maybe just normal. Maybe it's that biological aging. And exactly 1 year later, I got another appointment, but this time it was for pap test for uterus. Uh, it's the same. Municipality organizes those screenings and pap tests because of the prevention. And I went there. I think it's for pap tests. It's every 3 years, and the doctor. This is another doctor, another hospital, another department. How I don't know how to say. And she told me, well, something happened in your uterus when she was looking. I mean, this time it's different. The cells regenerated. Now you have the uterus of the 16 years old girl. And I was 57 at that time. She said the same exactly. It was they were same exactly words. It was just uterus and that time it was breast, just like the other doctor. Oh, I said, well, that's great. I mean, I was happy because to me, it meant not that I looked like a 16-year-old because I'm not looking. I'm 60 now, but that I feel like it. I mean, that I can move, that I can move normally. I can do things normally without thinking about pain or anything else, or that something is happening. And in the summer of that 2022, I had another, let's say, another episode that confirmed the choice, the nutritional choice, the diet. Because I was diving and without mask, right? I was watching under the. I was looking normally, watching under the water, and when I got out of the water, in the buildings that are 350 meters from the beach, I saw people in the attic, right, in the apartment under the roof, right, and well, it was possible before because I've always been wearing glasses, and for example. With glasses, without glasses, also worse. But with glasses, I couldn't see quite well people at 35 meters. I couldn't imagine 350 meters. And I then realized that something happened when I saw them, and that my glasses didn't fit me anymore. And last time that I changed glasses, it was in 2018. So I went to the doctor, to the ophthalmologist, who is a friend of mine. And I said, how can it be possible? I mean, and he said, well, it can happen that the sight gets better. Not with time. I'm getting old. I cannot have a better sight with time. I mean, and so I told him, I asked him, could it be possible because of nutrition, because of diet? He said, oh, no, I don't think so. Oh, no? How about that? Those who have diabetes, they can be blind, right? So it has to do with diet. He said, oh, no, it's impossible. But the day after we met in the gym, and he told me, I didn't sleep whole night. And I was thinking about it. It could be metabolical. Well, it is metabolical. Believe me, it is. It must be. And I didn't list lots of things that other small, I don't know, details of my body, of my life that, for example, I'm not getting nervous like I used to get nervous before. I'm much more calm. It's very important for me to be calm. I like that aspect of being calm, right? And I don't know, I don't care about a lot of things that you used to disturb me before, right? So I uh, I had that experience that it was very significant for me. It was very important for me, and in since my husband has a gym, and that's old school gym, right? He made equipment, and all actually the clients at the gym, we consider each other friends. We've known each other for a long time, and even those that are new, we don't consider them clients. We are not obsessed. We have to pay that time, that's we are. It was just. For us, it's our gym. It's been our gym since many years. I mean, he opened that gym in 1976, right? So it's a long time, yeah. And I we started explaining people because they notice the difference, especially me, because I lost all that fat, all that pound of kilos. Actually, it was something like 30 kilos. But on myself, they usually people say, "Well, you are tall. Oh, it doesn't look like." It doesn't look like it looked like. I was fat. It was horrible. So no, it was. I felt it horrible, really, and. Uh, then we started talking about it, and it was a shock at the beginning for people, and I realized why. Because first of all, there is a lot of prejudges. First of all, there is a carb addiction, because when you talk to people, when you explain them, why don't you cut carbs? Oh, that's a problem. When if you want to cut pizza and pasta, then they look for alternatives. What alternatives could be? I mean, there is no alternative. I mean, do you never cheat on yourself? I mean, do you have a cheat day? Should I have a cheat day? I mean, I sometimes I found videos on YouTube, my cheat day on carnivore, for example. For me, it's nonsense, because who do I cheat on? On myself? Oh, why should I cheat? Huh? I find it ridiculous. I'm so happy to get rid of it, to get rid of it. I mean, I feel free. Why should I cheat? It's just like going back to prison. I find it absurd. And if you are carnivore, if you really are, and for example, I like raw meat, and I am more and more, how do they say, Ronian? I think there is a word for raw meat for somebody who eats raw. I eat more and more raw meat, and you are completely satiated. I mean, I feel full, and in my head there is no idea of any need to cheat. I don't know why. Then there is a fear, prejudges and fear, right? Because, oh, what the doctors say. The doctors say that, and then, yeah, I know they say so, but the doctor smoke, the doctor drink, the doctor on drugs or whatever. I mean, they are fat doctors. It doesn't mean they they do what they preach. I don't know what to say, right? So, and well, there are some things that, if you permit me to underline, to point out, first of all, I think really that there are no cravings on carnivore. If there are cravings, seems, for me at least, what I could conclude is that it means that you are cheating, that you are not eating carnivore. And I saw, I mean, there are something like 30 people in the gym that started, and at least 20 kept eating carnivore, in that carnivore diet, kept following carnivore diet, because they have no more problems. They had some health issues. For example, a friend of mine and a client that she's my same age, she had a back pain, and she had gum problems, right? And she was told that it is reversible for gums. Then she resolved it. It's reversible. She went back to the doctor and said, "Well, I've been paying you for such a long time. I mean, you haven't told me that all I could do was eating sausages in fat, for example, to get my gums okay, right? For example, and and she helped her husband, for example. That he's also our friend and client, right? Because he had high blood pressure for 10 or 15 years. I don't know. He always used drugs for that blood pressure, but now he he lost his weight and he has no problems anymore with blood pressure. Then there is another lady that she's 65 now, and she's got a lot of problem with the diverticulitis, right? And now he resolved it. She's a really nice lady. For example, there is another guy, and a guy. I mean, he's 50 now, and for his that's curious. For example, I've been telling him for I was telling him to cut down carbs for months. And he was telling me, well, yeah, I'm just trying a little bit, step by step. I want to see it balanced. I told him, don't talk to me about balanced diet. If it is balanced, it means you are okay. So if you have problems, it's not balanced. Balance doesn't mean that you can eat everything. It's an excuse for eating everything. Only porks eat everything, right? And no, he insisted, no, I would like to balance. And then I told him, well, listen to me. You can lie to yourself, but not to me. And if you lie to me, I don't see the point because I do not sell you anything. Nothing comes into my pocket, nothing goes out of my pocket. I mean, it's up to you. You lie to yourself. Then we didn't see each other for 2 weeks because during the day I was outside the gym, and after 2 weeks I saw him, and he was another person. Just 2 weeks. And actually I told him, well, you are actually a handsome guy, you're a good looking guy. I never noticed that. And he was so happy, and now he's trying to explain to his wife, who is, nemo profeta in patria sua. You cannot explain that easily in your family. Maybe outside the family is better, but in the family it's always the problem.
Speaking of family, is your husband doing carnivore too?
Yes, of course. Yeah, my husband, uh, he embraced it immediately because it was he who suggested me to cut carbs, and he's been for years telling that people eat too much carbs, right? He says sugars, but I mean for sugar, right? Carbs. And he was always in shape, but he got that hip problem, and he had kidney problems. That's why he was surprised, because he always he's very very balanced. He never ate too much, for example. uh, uh, on the contrary, I eat a lot. At least to me it's normal, but I think I could compete. I could be competitive eater. I usually, people when they look at me, they eating. When they see me eating, they tell me I really eat a lot. But he was so let's say moderate in everything, and so when he it was something like 7 or 8 years ago, he had that kidney pain. It was very painful, but he eliminated through the urine the kidney stone. And then he started also when, the problem with him was simply because he doesn't speak English at all. So he couldn't follow the research, because all the research actually is in English, right? Things that come in Italian are usually just sort of repetition or copy, but it's not like that. Right? So when I started searching on internet and showing him the research and all those people that are on internet, except some exceptions that talk about cheating days or something like that, but all those people, I mean, those doctors or whatever, or simply people with personal experience that are very very useful. Uh, Actually gave me some tips, ideas, and are very useful even for other people. I mean, I realized that I won the key of freedom. And so for me, that was really great thing, something special. But I realized then, seeing other people in the gym that had health problems, health issues, I realized that I needed to inform myself at least a little bit. I've been ignorant. I was, and I still am ignorant, but I think I know now a little better, a little more, and I don't think that I need a degree to speak about the nutrition, simply because it's a part of our primary instinct, just like sex it is. So if a sheep, if a tiger, or I don't know, a snake or a spider knows what to eat, and I do not know, it means that they are more intelligent than me, and they are, if I do not know. And if they can do it without a specialist or nutritionist, it means that maybe I should try by myself to know what is my primary instinct, right? So, okay, if there are some particular health problems, but I think at least it's my duty to know what to eat. And if I don't know what to eat, it's my shame. I repeat, it's my biological and moral shame, ethical shame, not to know, because it's the basis for everything else. My husband has been telling me for years that nutrition is everything. He always used to say, one thing is if you broke a leg, or you have a car accident. And even in that case, nutrition can help. But everything else, it's your diet, it's the way you eat. For example, about car accident, for example, we have a guy in the gym. He's 25, and 3 years ago he had a severe car accident, and he had his leg broken, and he had 80 surgeries. Eight operations in order to put his leg in order, right? And every time he there was an infection, they couldn't do it right because he had sort of problems, and it was sort of never-ending story. And then my husband told him, "Well, how about cutting carbs and getting into ketosis?" And he started thinking about it. He accepted it actually immediately. His family was terrified because of it. So my husband told him, "Well, you ate the way you ate before, and nothing happened. Just try it in this way, right?" And he started, and he lost some kilos. Not He wasn't fat. I wouldn't call him fat, but let's be a bit bulky. I don't know how to say. But he lost his fat because my husband said, during the operation and after the operation, people who do not recover are usually those who are fat, because fat means infection. And so he got slim. He went again. It was ninth operation, ninth surgery. And he told him, when you are in the hospital, do not eat it for at least 3 days. Since he trained fasting before, he could do it. And in the hospital, they were horrified. I mean, nurses and doctors, "Oh, what will you keep? You're going to die if you don't eat." And my husband told him, "No, you're gonna live if you don't eat. Don't worry. Nobody dies without eating. I mean, you really need a lot without eating to die." So, and he got, and this ninth time it was successful. And now he then started wearing that sort of cage around his leg, iron cage. I don't know. But at least he could move, he could walk, and it worked, and now it's okay. He can make, let's say, normal. The leg is not perfect, but he is moving, he's doing squat, he's working out normally. And uh, there are really lots of examples in the gym that we have. For example, even my
Mm.
um, brother-in-law, who was always fat and who is doctor, for example, who is a doctor. And I told him, "Well, I think you should cut carbs. Do not tell me what to eat because I know," he told me. I said, "If you know, how come you are fat?" "Oh, that's my genetic, that's my structure, genetics and everything else." Then he got an emergency, small, it burst. I don't know how they say, sort of aneurysma, but it was
Yeah,
it was not
aneurysm.
very,
Yeah.
it was not very grief. I mean, it wasn't hard. And he saved himself, and he said, "Well, this time I really saw things very bad," and he started then eating from. And then he passed on carnivore, and you know what he told me? Oh, how many lies I learned, and how many lies I told to people. That were his words. I said, remember when I was telling you, said, I know what to eat? He was coming.
Wow. So how do you eat each day? Like, what is your menu like?
I eat only meat, sometimes fish, just because fish doesn't satiate me a lot. It's okay, but I'm not mad about fish. And meat, beef and sheep, lamb. I do not eat pork at all because I notice the difference. Pork can be, I feel the inflammation. For example, I get itchy when I eat pork, and I know that pork, if it is not controlled very much, pork can have trichinosis, right? It can be problematic. So I don't, even though I like pork, I like the taste of the pork. So I eat meat, simple and fat. The fat of the meat itself, and sometimes rendered fat. I when we needed something like about a year to find the local farmers who have cows and sheep and who wanted to sell us, right? And then when we get, for example, I don't know, a quarter and a half a cow, half a beef, we get fat and all the organs. So because I like to eat all that, what is so called the fifth fourth, the head, tail, organs, and then I insist on having fat, beef fat, and then I make tallow myself because we don't find tallow here in the supermarkets. We can only find butter, and the only thing that I buy in supermarket is clarified butter. That's all. I don't go to supermarket anymore. I'm sorry, but I I don't go anymore. I don't know what to find in supermarket. And but tallow is meat. And when making tallow, then at that moment, in order to make tallow, I make I think you call it in English cracklings or something like that, pieces of fat, right? Yeah. Oh, I like it very much. And then I realize what calories mean, because sometimes I'm capable of eating 1 kilo a day. Of that, 1 kilo a day is 9,000 calories. But I like it. Well, that's only when I make that cracklings. But usually it's a meat and fat.
Yeah. And that's 1 time a day, 2 times a day?
Uh, lately it's been one time a day, sometimes two. At the beginning, I needed more, but now I eat till I'm full, and I'm full at least. I mean, I eat something like 1 kilo a time, right? Yeah. Well, for me it's normal. My husband says maybe it's too much. No, I feel it's something normal. Well, but I I I don't feel hunger anymore. I'm not hungry then after that, and I don't feel a need because I know what the hunger is. When you eat chocolate or any carb, so I was always thinking about eating something, and even if I wanted to count on my let's say will, my strength, I was still watching the clock when the time comes. So I hated it. It's sort of prison, right? I mean, for me, it's freedom, complete
Yeah.
freedom, actually. But there is another thing that I would like to underline. It's that, for example, a friend of ours that is doctor, he said, "Well, if you think that no carbs are needed," I said, "I'm not thinking. It is so, right? But if you think that no carbs are needed, how come we have pancreas, for example?" I said, "Point of this. I mean, you have pancreas for your carbohydrate cells, your endogenous cells. In no textbook, and I took then my textbooks in biology and chemistry, because chemistry comes first. have I no in no textbooks have I seen that they were talking about exogenous carbs. It was only endogenous because it's a molecular part of a cell, right? So what and those questions are from doctors who studied, and it's okay because he's surgeon, and they are excellent surgeons because they get mad about operating, and I know that who is surgeon who likes to operate, but I think they never think about metabolism. And if they studied, maybe it was only 2 or 4 hours about it, but they never thought about it in terms of everyday eating. And if you eat meat, beef, lamb, sheep, or I mean, you are satiated. I don't know what else could I want more. And every time it's just like the first time, because people usually say, "Oh, don't you get bored?" Bored of what? I mean, every time, every day when I eat, it's just as if it were the first time.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
me,
I've got that feeling too. It's amazing, right?
yeah, it's amazing. For example, I told my husband because we are very chatty among us, right? And I told him, let's not talk, let's not speak while we are eating. I want to join it. I mean, we really enjoy it. So it's something like sacred atmosphere, right? It's so safe. And then after that, we can chat about everything. But all that fear, if you are afraid, you cannot move. But fear is so strong emotion. I mean, what Hitler used to say, love passes, but fear remains forever. I mean, fear is so strong, and people are so afraid, even though they have problems. And another thing are blood works. Uh, People see their blood works okay, and still they have problems, and they're satisfied with those numbers. We had people in the gym, for example, a lady that had perfect blood work and she died after 3 months. I have a colleague of mine that died actually after a month and a half, and she said that her blood works was perfect. Blood work. My blood works 30 kilos before and 30 kilos less than 30 kilos after. Actually, it's not so different. It's almost the same, but it is a ratio that is different because I never had that star or arrow beside. Never had a problem with, for example, triglycerides and HDL. But now it's inverted. HDL is higher than triglycerides. Before it was different, but it was always in the range, right? So the doctor says it's in the range and it doesn't tell you anything about the ratio that could be different. So I think that the fear is such that probably it won't disappear, and the addiction is really exaggerated.
So, Persida, if a friend of yours wanted advice about how to start carnivore, what would you tell them to do?
Uh, I would ask them if they are ready to get rid of, to not to eat what they are addicted to. The first thing that I would ask them, are you ready for this? So, because I know when I mentioned pizza or pasta, they really they couldn't they couldn't imagine their life without it. What's the alternative date? And or our grandparents and parents used to eat pasta and pizza and they lived until 90 or 100. Yes, but they ate maybe once a day in the best possible ways, or once in 3 days before. They ate so rarely. It wasn't so often, and it was completely different. At least there were it was not added. Yeah, the molecule is always the carb molecule is always the carb molecule, but at least it was a little bit different, and at least they worked in the fields. It was completely different, and still there were fat people even at that time. Some people with problems, right? Not necessarily fat people, but they had some health issues. But usually, I may say, let me if you permit, if you may say something that could be ridiculous, and I know that it could appear ridiculous, but I would like to leave it as an open question, right? And that is, when doctors and all those experts, lots of experts about carnivore on the internet, when they are talking about carnivore and they give advice and some tips, it's everything is useful, really. You just have to at least try on yourself. But there is something that, to me, it looks like not an answer for many questions. It's not a diagnosis. I mean, it has to do with that something. Some people do like that. Some people do like that. Some are in this way, some are in that way. To me, that some is just a label. It's something like when you say it's genetics. Well, of course, it's genetics. We all have our parents. I mean, we are not from another planet. We are born from parents, right? And it's idiopathics, or it's stress, or it's temperature, or anything else. But it's not the answer. What we noticed in the gym, but of course I'm talking about a small group. It can be, for example, 30 or 50 people. Then if a doctor has a contact with thousands of people, it is different. He or she can notice more, better. And of course, I'm still ignorant. I do not have that knowledge, right? But what we noted, that was a difference in of the speed that the body reacts, and not only the speed. Some people are very fast and some are not. For example, I'm much faster in the reaction. I'm more reactive and much faster to my husband. And so if I eat something, I will realize if it is okay or not much faster regarding him, because maybe what I test today, probably he'll need at least 3 months to realize that what's happening in his body. And we realized what was the difference. It's in our blood type. O blood type, especially O minus, is very reactive, and it probably has to do with your stomach acid, because blood type has stronger, 3 times stronger stomach acid. At least what I read about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely. It's a completely nonsense argument. But we saw it. It is so. If a person reacts immediately, if the reaction is so fast, and we have results almost immediately in a very short period of time, it means he or she is O blood type. And well, the reaction can be negative too. O blood type gets maybe immediately sick. I mean, because you realize immediately that something is wrong with you. For example, A type is a little bit problem. And I usually realize when somebody says, "Oh, nothing's happening in my body," it means it's A type. I ask them, it's always A type, so I say, "Okay, just wait, be patient. For example, 2 or 3 months, and you'll see." And it's usually in that way. It may be the most stupid thing that I've just said, but that's what we realized, and it is so. And my husband was observing me in order to had some to had some change in his body, because then he started eating in a way that, because I was trying, because I can immediately detect and react at a certain food and way of eating or anything. And it's not me, I'm not the only one, because there are the others who are all type. So when I hear that about some people, at least to me, it doesn't mean anything. It's not an explanation. It's not it's an affirmation that there are some people that react in that way on the other, but it's not the explanation of the cause, right? So if it is an open nonsense question, okay, I accept it.
So, Persida, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
No, I'm on Telegram. I only have Telegram contact, right? I can be fine. And there are not a lot of Persida Lazarevic, right? Or they will find my name. I teach at the University of Pescara, so I'm full professor at the University of Pescara, and they can find my email on the homepage of the university. Persida, I'm the only one.
No problem. So Persida, thank you so much for coming on and
Thank
sharing
you,
your
Dave. You
story.
are great, really. Thank you very much. I think it's an opportunity. I hope at least let me conclude. I mean, I realize that if there are 10 people, I cannot convince 10 people. I cannot explain, and probably 10 of them won't understand that. But at least two of them, maybe they will, and those two will find another two, and so on and so on. Tam works, and your opportunity, you gave me the opportunity. I'm very, very grateful to you. Thank you very much.